Hello and welcome to the Import-Export Hub channel, everybody. Bogdan here, your hopefully not so boring host for the next couple of minutes. I hope everyone is fine, and without further ado, let's dive into today's topic, in which I will try to cover 5 products worth importing from New Zealand. I will then show you the main export destinations, and of course, where possible, I will also point out the main export drivers. And without losing precious time here, guys, let's start with the first product that I recommend. It's coming from heading 0810, fresh strawberries and other berries. It doesn't have anything to do with berries, don't worry, but with fresh kiwi fruit, as New Zealand is by far the largest exporter in the world in terms of value, I think also in terms of volumes. And we see that in this 2017-2021 time frame, we have here a nice upward and organic, if you want, trend with European Union, not elsewhere specified, China and Japan as the main destinations. But of course, we have other important trading partners like, I don't know, South Korea, the United States, or Canada, among others. So quite spread, these top 10 trading partners. Cumulatively, we see here that they make up for some 94-95%, quite high if you ask me. But then again, New Zealand's exports from this heading are mostly directed towards developed countries, except here China, of course, which are less prone to demand variability. In terms of year-on-year changes, we have almost 12% increase, which in absolute values translates into $248 million. And I think that except Japan and Hong Kong, who both had contractions, the rest of the top 10 trading partners had positive changes. The biggest absolute change happening here with European Union, not elsewhere specified, and China, who combined imported with some $190 million more. And guys, if you're wondering what European Union not elsewhere specified means, like I did, well, I made some digging and I've cross-referenced the exports with other sources, and personally I came to the conclusion that these are in fact exports mostly towards Germany. And most probably an importer, a very, very big importer there, decided to ask the customs authorities from Germany to use European Union, not elsewhere specified, instead of Germany because of commercial reasons. Anyhow, now moving to the main drivers, well, it comes as no surprise really to see that fresh kiwi fruit, so subheading 081050, is driving most of New Zealand's exports both towards China and Canada. Moving now, guys, to my second recommendation. This one comes from heading 0307, Mollusks and the like, and I hope I've pronounced it correctly. And okay, we don't see the values from the previous chapter, but I don't know, $293 million is not negligible if you ask me. And we have here China, the United States, and Australia as the main export destinations, followed by Spain, the Russian Federation, or United Kingdom, again, just to name a few from this top 10 list. The export concentration is smaller, but we have just two main destinations making up for roughly 50%, which is relatively concentrated, especially when your biggest export market is one like China. In terms of year-on-year changes, we have here a 10% contraction, so more or less $33 million. If we were to put a dollar value to the percentage change, with 4 countries from this top 10 list who had fewer exports. China is the largest one, while the rest of the top 10 had positive changes, so 6, with the United States having the biggest absolute change of roughly $15 million. Relative to New Zealand's main export drivers from this heading, towards Spain we have cuttlefish and squid, frozen with or without shell, so subheading 030743, while the exports towards the United Arab Emirates were mostly driven by mussels, frozen even in a shell, so subheading 030732. Now, with this being said, guys, I will move to my third recommendation. It's coming from heading 0201. So meat of bovine animals, fresh or chilled, and again we see a nice upward and organic trend similar to the kiwi fruit sector. For 2021, the total exports amounted to some $376 million, with the United States here, China, and Japan as the main destinations, followed at some distance by the United Arab Emirates, French Polynesia, Australia, or Taiwan. Again, just to mention a couple from this top 10 list. The overall export concentration again is relatively high, with almost 85% here, but not in a danger zone if you ask me. Again, we see that almost all the trading partners are developed countries, so you can easily expect that on aggregate the demand will remain relatively stable for these particular countries. We have here what, a 26% positive change, some $77.5 million in absolute value. A change driven here mostly by the exports towards the United States and China, who combined imported with some $56 million more in 2021 than they did in the previous year, so 2020. In terms of New Zealand's main export drivers from this heading, it's not a complex heading, by the way, and we see that for both French Polynesia and Singapore, fresh or chilled bovine meat is the main export driver. Jumping now, guys, to my fourth recommendation, we have another food-related product. Sorry, guys, for this menu. And we have here heading 0302, so fresh fish or chilled one. And basically, we see that for 2021, New Zealand's exports amounted roughly to $114 million. Almost 28% more than the previous year, with the United States here and Australia as the main destinations, followed at some distance by Japan, again China or Canada, just to name a couple from this top 10 list. If we were to sum up the top 10 trading partners, we would come up with some 99% export concentration index, with the United States and Australia alone accounting for what, 78-79% relative to the trend. And if I consider only these last 5 years, except 2020 here, which is an outlier, let's face it, we see a relatively stable trend, with China and Singapore on an upward trend, which personally I think they will maintain it. Relative to the year-on-year changes, overall we have almost 28% positive change, as I've said at the beginning, which translates into some $24.8 million, with the United States, Australia, and also China contributing the most for this positive figure. As for the main export drivers, well, towards Australia we have here subheading 030285, so fresh or chilled sea bream, while those towards Thailand were mostly driven by subheading 033021, so fresh or chilled Pacific salmon. And now, guys, with this fourth product being also covered, let's move to my fifth and last one. It's honey, so subheading 0409. And guys, we see that in 2021, New Zealand's exports amounted to some $327 million, with China here, the United States, and also United Kingdom driving most of the demand. But we have also, I don't know, countries like Germany or Japan who have impressive figures, with $33 and $28 million respectively. And I don't know if in the 2017-2019 time frame the exports were somehow on a downward path. It seems that they really took off in 2020 and 2021. Why not? With figures above $325 million dollars for each year. So 2020 and 2021. As for the year-on-year changes, guys, 2021 had a small contraction, minus 0.45%, which I think it's safe to say it's negligible. A contraction driven by the lower demand and consequent lower volume of exports towards Japan and Australia. But on the other hand, we have here strong numbers coming from the United States and Hong Kong, who cumulatively imported with some $27 million more, therefore somehow dampening the overall year-on-year change. As for the main drivers, again, this is not a complex heading. It's a one product heading, really. We don't have a breakdown, I don't know, in terms of types of honey and so on. So here for both the United States and Australia, heading 0409 was the main export driver. And guys, I don't know, with this sweet taste in mind, these were my 5 recommendations for you. Thanks for watching. I really hope you've liked it. Don't forget to hit whatever button you like below this video. And as usual, until next time, keep your business safe. Thanks.